Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Virgo, my lovely fellow Virgos, I am also a Virgo. I'm an August Virgo, though, so, yeah. August Virgos. They always say that we have different vibes, right? August and September Virgos, which I think is probably true. My sister is a September Virgo. Shout out to my sister if you're listening. I love you, sis. We're a lot alike in a lot of ways, but we're also very different. And I think a lot of it is more social, I guess. But yeah. So here we are, Virgos, and we have one of my favorite cards. Yes, the Knight of Cups. It's actually really a special card for me. I look at it as representing the beloved in form of, well, agape, really. But I like to use this card as a reminder of the tie between the lower realms, the Malkuthian realms, the material world, and that higher place. If we think of it, as as like some kind of hierarchy, but yeah, definitely a beloved feeling. Now, the Knight of Cups is holding the cup, you can see, and we see the Cancer emblem right there, the symbol for Cancer. We also have the peacock in the water, which is also kind of going into his wings. So very much a master of emotions, okay? One that is very aware and wise about their thoughts, actions, the things that they devote themselves to. Everything is very intentional, but also not so tightly held that things can't flow, because we have the water, right? Water, you can put it in a vessel, but if you try to hold on to it, right, it's just kind of, it goes where it wants. And I think that, that's kind of a really interesting take on, well, anything that we love, anything we're passionate about, right? If you hold on to it too tightly, if you are worried about losing it or them or whatever it is, it's like, you almost kind of crushed the thing. Right? It's just, it becomes too much, overwhelming, right? So letting things flow as they will, which, listen, Virgo, I'm just going to be real. We're not the best at that, are we? So we got to work on it. I know I do. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to check these things out here, these tea leaves. Look at that one. It made the perfect, like, what are they called? Stick figure. That's so funny, with a dog next to it. So we have, the dog represents a loyal, never-ending, beloved friendship or relationship, or, maybe it is a friendship in a deep bond with maybe a family member, like a mother or something. Shout out to all the moms. Here in America, it is Mother's Day on Sunday. So I want to say a big shout out to all the moms out there and all the caregivers, and, and all of our configurations, right? So yeah, as you can see, I'm all about the mom energy. I love the mother goddesses, the crone goddesses. And so, yes, happy Mother's Day. So I do feel like you're in this period of time where you are really leaning into this friendship, okay? I feel like there's almost this, I think, realization sometimes where maybe we've been in a troubled relationship. Maybe we have been single for a while and we're starting to get used to it. You know, whatever, many different reasons why we can start to come to the conclusion that oftentimes our friendships are so much more fulfilling than romantic relationships. Now, of course, you can be good friends with your romantic partner, and then it, you know, hopefully is wonderful. But so often when we take away the pressure of that kind of closeness, it leaves a lot more room to explore other things together, right? Like hobbies and getting excited to go, you know, go travel somewhere together, you know, gossip at work or whatever it is, right? And so I feel you really leaning into this relationship and finding a lot of comfort in it. And it's not, I don't feel like you're just oh, poor Virgo, you know, you're sitting at home crying and waiting for, you know, some miracle to happen. Of course, we don't sit on our laurels, us Virgos. We want something. It may take us a minute to get to it, but we will get that thing done, right? So I feel like for you, this is like, okay, well, this other part of my life needs to get sorted, or maybe I'm starting to get used to how things are now, and I am going to start really kind of leaning into friendships, leaning into my you know, my best good friend, and we, you know, spending time going out, doing stuff, and finding this kind of, I guess, weight, almost like a weight lifted off, right? Just feeling lighter in general, and playful. That's the big thing. I feel like a lot of playfulness. Okay. Now we're going to look over here. We have the stag right here. You can see. I'm trying to decide. Maybe it's not the stag. Maybe this is like a goat, because I was thinking this is like the horns up here. And let me get my stick. The horns up here, or antlers. But it looks more like the head, right? Like a goat, like a young goat, or sheep. And over here, it looks like we have a stop sign. We have a horse that is kind of running, and we have a windmill. So immediately I think of like Don Quixote, right? Kind of a weird story, obviously, but if you don't know that much about it, I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but there are these motifs of windmills and kind of feeling like you have a purpose, but you are aimlessly wandering and having these kind of weird, haphazard type of you know, situations come up. And it really is this kind of like post peak of your life, right? Like you're the knight in shining armor, you are the warrior of the kingdom, you know, all of that kind of thing. And then really, he never was some grand knight or whatever. He's always kind of a goofy dude, I think. But then, right, you kind of, well, you fall off a little bit, right? You get older. I have mentioned in a lot of my readings, I'm a huge fan of music, right? And especially, and I know you'll probably think, what the heck? I'm really into like rap, right? I grew up in the graffiti scene in my younger years, and going to a lot of rap and hip hop shows and all of that, right? And I just have to say, and this is no like shade on anybody, because I'm still a huge fan, but of many people. But you see all these like rappers, and they've gotten older, right? A lot of them in their 50s or so, and not a lot of them are hanging on to their careers, right? And yet they're still very talented, and they're, you know, doing different projects. And if you go looking, you'll find the work. But it's almost kind of the same kind of feeling from this archetype, right? Of maybe getting into a point where it's like all of a sudden you're realizing like my life as it was has slowly shifted and I haven't noticed how different it has become. But now I'm looking around and I'm thinking like, this seems like a strange landscape. Like, how did I find myself here? Kind of like on some old horse, you know, just kind of like trying to keep it going so you can get to where you're going. And then it's like after a while you think, well, where the heck was I even going? You know, well, what was the plan here? All of a sudden I'm realizing like all these things that at the core I really wanted, you know, my life is just kind of changed in so many minor ways that all of a sudden I'm looking at it and it's super different. And now maybe this is a time where like the kids are leaving the house. Maybe you're thinking about post-work era of your life, like a retirement of some kind, or slowing down a little bit, you know, working instead of 5 jobs to stay afloat. Maybe you'll work 4, you know, and I'm not laughing, you know, and I say this a lot in my readings. I laugh at weird moments. I am neurodivergent, but it's almost absurd, right? It's almost absurd the way that things are sometimes in the world. And so when I say it, I think, my goodness, this is actually a truth. I mean, there are people working so many jobs just trying to figure out how they're going to pay their, you know, rent and stuff. And, you know, that's, it's a wild thing. So I'm sorry for like kind of doing my little laughs. I'm not laughing at the situation and, you know, the general, sense, but, yeah, I feel like for you, it's kind of, you know, like, okay, so not in a place of grieving necessarily, but it does, like, it hits hard, right? All of a sudden, I'm very aware that things are not the same, and I'm not the same, right? And so I feel like this is a place where you are stopping to really kind of consider, am I wandering aimlessly? And if I am I cool with that? Because maybe that's what you want, right? I like a little walkabout, you know, in life. And yet we have this goat, okay? Now, the goat is so many things. It's one of the most multifaceted symbols. To me, it's such a, if we think of like a holistic being, the goat, right? Because they have all of the emotions and they are very, you know, willing to share them with you. They're uncomfortable. They're going to scream. They're feeling silly. They're jumping around. They're climbing on stuff. You know, they're hungry. They're going to let you know. You know, their ability to traverse just almost impossible circumstances. And I'm thinking of, you know, going up the side of a hill. You've seen mountain goats. That, like, their footing is, you can't even see it. Like, what are you standing on, dude? How are you doing that? Are you just like floating along the side of the wall, you know? But symbolically, it really is like this almost supernatural ability to figure things out against all odds. And that's one thing about a Virgo. They can say whatever they want about, oh yeah, you guys always think you're right, and you know, you're egotistical or whatever. Well, we are often right. I mean, okay. But really, I feel like we're so good at just like, you know, I always think of this meme. It's a meme, it's a picture of a sign or whatever, but it says, like, we've done so much with so little for so long, we can do anything with nothing now. And that to me is absolutely the core vibe of most Virgos. I'm not going to say every single one, but yeah, most Virgos, right? We figure it out. And so to me, I feel like this is like a moment where it could almost go a little sour. It could almost become like a, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You know, like very destabilizing. But I feel like, you know, for you, this is an opportunity. Yeah, it doesn't make you feel a little sad, maybe nostalgic, sentimental. Yes, of course, right? Any life change, any rite of passage does. But I feel like now, in this time, in this moment, it's like deciding, no, I'm not going to get upset about this. This is like, I almost have a whole blank canvas to get going. I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. I can be whatever I want. And you are remembering. I feel like it's so easy for me anyways, I know this about myself, that I can get into this idea that nothing will ever change. That whatever is happening right now is like how it's always going to be. I'm always going to feel like this. Things are always going to be in this order. And the reality is, man, things change so fast, constantly. Like my life, 3 years ago, so much different than what it is now. My life 10 years ago, like you wouldn't even, it was not even the same realm. It's like, that's like a whole other book, life changes if we like it or not, right? And so I feel like we're in this place, Virgo, where we are willing ourselves. We are intentionally choosing to embrace it. Embrace the change, okay? Make it work for you. And that's what I see happening. Absolutely. Now, we also have, it looks like the number 82. And it looks like we have, maybe, what is this? It looks like the name Ryan to me. Ryan. And then Nay. It looks like Nay. But Rya. And then it looks like an N as well. So Ryan for some reason, Nay. And maybe a horse, but also maybe no, right? We also have a large E, capital E. We have a tulip. And we have an anchor. The number 4, the fancy style 4. I love when people write it like that. Let's see. The tulip, the snail. And then this, to me, I'm reading this as say, S-A, and right in here, Y, and then I-T, say it. Say it. Say what, though? Me or them? Probably you. You have something to tell somebody. You have something to say out loud. All right. We also have a person right up here. Okay. So I feel like we have this very feminine energy kind of surrounding you lately. And to me, it feels very much like somebody watching over you. Almost kind of like, jokingly, they're gonna keep you on task, right? So I feel like this is maybe somebody who helped raise you, or maybe it is somebody who raised you. But it feels like a feminine person, but they're younger in my mind. But I don't think that they passed on when they were young, but I think that's like how they kind of present themselves. You know what I mean? Like they have chosen to like have this younger form to be able to communicate. And so I wonder if maybe they had just like the most wonderful youth. Like they're not really young, but maybe like, 30. And I feel like it's just kind of this feeling of not backpedaling, not kind of sliding back into old things and keeping you moving forward. They want to be there to cheer you on. And that's what it feels like. Okay, so, ooh, that one jumped. So we have, oh yeah. It looks like we have a sheep and we have this kind of devil, trickster energy. I feel like you've been having some troubled sleep. Maybe you've been having bad dreams or falling asleep has just been impossible, okay? I feel like there's some kind of, maybe an entity, but more like an intelligence. I don't feel like this is like a physical thing visiting you, but I feel like you have something. And this could be that it's more along the lines of like a tulpa or a thought form or a poltergeist type of thing, where psychically it's kind of coming out of you, right? And manifests as something that we perceive as being separate from ourselves, like it's a demon, but in reality, it's like you're projecting part of your shadow and you are experiencing it. And so I feel like this is maybe a time where whatever it is, and I know that because we all carry things that, we have things that we feel guilty about, shameful about. We might be worried we're not living right, or we're letting people down, or, whatever it is. And I want you to look at that. I want you to really, in your most honest ability, right, or ability to be honest with yourself, which isn't easy. And I'm not pointing fingers, because I can say that I know from personal experience. But I think it's a place where in your quiet moment, you don't have to do it outwardly. You don't have to let anybody know. You don't have to like post about it or, whatever. This is something for you. And in this moment, maybe not right this second, but when you have this moment, looking at yourself and really, being empathetic, being loving. What's the other one? I posted this on the channel once. If somebody's being mean to you every day, how could that person ever be happy? How could you ever be happy? If you're getting bullied by somebody, right? And you're like feeling anxious and you're hurting and and then what if you're the one bullying yourself? You can't get away from yourself. You're the one, talking down to yourself, nitpicking and just, kind of dismantling. And so I think, and I'm going to try this myself. I won't just tell you to do it and not do it myself. But I do think that, this might be a time to really practice some radical love, radical honesty, radical acceptance of self, okay? Because I do feel like your sleeping issues are tied to whatever it is that you're letting build up inside of you, right? If it's feeling insecure, lonely, it might be like addiction related, or, just so many things, right? There's so many things that we could just feel like, oh, I haven't, been doing my cleaning routine how I like always do. And now I feel like I'm just, spiraling because I haven't been doing the things that I know I want to do and need to do and whatever. Sometimes we need to just give ourselves that time. Sometimes we just have to put things down for a while, and that's okay. So let's go ahead. We're going to do our lucky numbers. Lucky number 7. Lucky number 93. 7, 93, and 89. 89. Now we're also going to do our indigo sage affirmation cards, and we're going to end with these ones. And I'll just stop where it feels right. And it says, 29, receive abundance. The gift of life will unfurl with new vitality within every cell of your being. Within every cell of your being. All right, Virgo, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I just want to tell you again, I love you, and we will talk soon. Good night, good night, good night.